Welcome to the Nut Gallery Review Podcast. We bring you the news on the media that shapes your world.
Welcome to episode 177. I'm Jason Schulte.
I'm Sean McFadden.
And I'm back. Mike Anston.
Not Batman, but back. Just a quick start out is with Mortal Kombat having been released. It was revealed that Joe Taslim, who plays Sub-Zero, has signed a 5-movie contract, and it includes multiple sequels for Mortal Kombat if the 2021 reboot is successful. So
5 movies, dang.
So I would assume Sub-Zero doesn't get killed if he's going to come back.
I haven't seen it yet. It just came out this Friday. So
I could tell you, but that'd be spoiling the movie. So
yeah, don't do that.
Have you seen it?
Yes, I have HBO Max. So
is it?
I was able to watch it. So I've been on a huge Mortal Kombat kick, actually. There's a podcast called Mortal Podcast that I listen to. And I've been listening to since episode 1. And I'm in like season 2, I'm on episode like 15 or something. So I'm really into Mortal Kombat lore, and this takes a totally different approach, one that's okay. But there could have been more. I wish it was different a little bit. So
lore aside, though, was it a decent movie?
Oh, it was fun as crap, dude. It was, like the fight scenes were epic. Just the attention to detail that they take to the Mortal Kombat franchise is amazing. An Easter egg is Sub-Zero and Jax are fighting, and in the background somebody graffitied the button combination for Sub-Zero's ice ball.
Dude,
so
cool.
There's like down, right, left punch, or low punch, sorry, on the wall. So like their just attention to detail to the franchise in general was amazing. The new character is the letdown for me. So that's basically it.
All right.
Otherwise I had a blast watching it. So
well, hopefully there'll be more to come.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, a similar deal was signed for Power Rangers, and that it didn't do well enough that they kind of canned all the idea of moving forward, which I still thought it was a pretty decent movie, but I guess I was in the minority.
Rory, my daughter, loved it, and she had never cared about the Power Rangers at all. But that movie, she was just like, she suddenly became a Power Rangers fan because of that movie.
Yeah, I heard they scrapped the sequel and they're rebooting it once again. So, yay.
Yay.
I actually liked that reboot. I thought it was fun.
I thought it was all right. Yeah.
My only real complaint about it was that that it took too long to get started. Like that whole, like the cave and all of that, it just felt too long.
Yeah.
So, but I think if you hadn't done that, the movie would have felt too short. So what do you do? Well, we can move on to May movies. It's a fairly short list, but there's a couple decent ones in here. Starting right off is Wrath of Man. It's rated R for strong violence throughout, pervasive language, and some sexual references on May 7th. A mysterious and wild-eyed new cash truck security guard, played by Jason Statham, surprises his coworkers during a heist in which he unexpectedly unleashes precision skills. The crew is left wondering who he is and where he came from. Soon, the Marksman's ultimate motive becomes clear as he takes dramatic and irrevocable steps to settle a score. It's directed by Guy Ritchie. It's an English language remake of a 2004 French film.
What is it called?
Wrath of Man.
Wrath of Man. Okay. The Wrath of Jason Statham.
You're funny.
That was a stretch, but thank you.
Just a little bit.
This will probably be my top pick for the month, just because like most everything Guy Ritchie does, and Statham looks to be kicking butt as normal. And the trailer just looks pretty good, where he's just kind of like being that calm, cool killer. And it's really about his son gets killed, and he's taking revenge on whoever did it. It kind of has some John Wick feel to it. in places where he's coming in for revenge. So I'm pretty excited for this. I told my wife that we need to find a babysitter and probably go to this.
Nice.
Moving on, also on May 7th is The Human Factor. It's PG-13 for some violence, bloody images. It is from the Oscar-nominated director of The Gatekeepers. Comes the untold behind-the-scenes story of the United States 30-year effort to secure peace in the Middle East, told from the perspective of the American negotiators. It's a documentary from the Bill Clinton era dealing with Middle East talks.
Interesting subject. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how well it'll grab traction, but
were people really asking for that? You know,
Yeah.
That's
so, you know.
Moving to May 14th, we have Sprial from the Book of Saw. It is R for sequences of grisly, bloody violence, torture, pervasive language, some sexual references, and brief drug use. A criminal mastermind unleashes a twisted form of justice in Sprial, the terrifying new chapter from the Book of Saw. Working in the shadows of his father, an esteemed police veteran, Samuel Jackson, brass detective Zeke Banks, Chris Rock, and his rookie partner take charge of a grisly investigation into murders that are eerily reminiscent of the city's gruesome past. Unwittingly entrapped in a deepening mystery, Zeke finds himself at the center of the killer's morbid game. And this is a continuation of the Saw series. It's kind of cool that they brought in some big names, which is not something Saw had done in the past. This technically is the 9th movie. It is neither a reboot nor does it rely heavily on the previous movies. So it's kind of a new jumping in point. It is directed by Darren Lynn Bossman, also helmed Saw 2, 3, and 4. And 2 is probably my most favorite in the series. So
I do have to ask though, we've got Chris Rock in this?
Yeah.
Man, okay.
And this one got heavily delayed because it was supposed to come out last year. Got really delayed until this year. So yeah.
I'm just trying to take Chris Rock seriously in a dramatic role.
In a horror movie.
It seemed pretty like he was doing pretty well in that role from the trailer. Of course, that's cut together to make you believe that.
Of course.
The really kind of thing with this that's different for me is it seems much crisper. The other films were much more
gritty.
Yeah. And just not as studio heavy, where this feels very studio heavy.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if this will be a jumping off point for a series of new films in the series, because that's what they're planning.
Yeah.
May 28th, Cruella, set in 1970s London amidst the punk rock revolution, follows a young grifter named Estella, a clever and creative girl determined to make a name for herself with her designs. She befriends a pair of young thieves who appreciate her appreciation for mischief, and together they're able to build a life for themselves on the London streets. One day, Estella's flair for fashion catches the eye of a Baroness Van Helmen, a fashion legend, but the relationship sets in motion a course of events and revelations that will cause Estella to embrace her wicked side and become the raucous, fashionable, and revenge-bent Cruella. Stars Emma Stone and Emma Thompson.
Man, I just want to give a little bit of a nod to someone who wrote the sentence, appreciate her appreciation. I mean,
no,
wow.
Appreciate her appetite for mischief.
Okay. I was just like, that is a mouthful.
Yeah, this one I'll be waiting for when it hits Disney Plus. I'm not gonna go to the theater for it, and B, not gonna pay the $30 premium access to it on Disney Plus. So
it is ridiculous. I mean, I know where they're coming from, but still, like,
yeah,
if we're sitting on our couch, we expect to pay sitting on our couch prices.
Yeah.
You know, if they cut it in half, that would be different. Like it was like, hey, you know, premium access $14.99 or something like that. Or I'd probably pull the trigger on it. But at $30, no, thank you.
Well, and it's funny because they basically said Milan was a disaster being
Yeah.
released that way at that price point. So I don't know why they think any other movie is going to be any better.
Yeah, they're doing this with Black Widow as well. So it's going to be, we've mentioned it before. I'm vaccinated, so I'm probably going to go to the theater for Black Widow. But Black Widow is the one movie that would be close enough to make me pay that $30. It's the closest thing, but I won't. I just, because I could go on a Tuesday and get a $5 ticket, that type of thing.
Well, at $30, if I'm paying $30, I expect it to be in my library forever. Like, hey, $30, I own this movie now.
Yeah,
you
right. 4K.
Well, just
something.
My final thoughts on Cruella is watching the trailer. There's moments of it that look great, and there's moments that look terrible. So that makes me a little hesitant, regardless of the price point, because if they can't cut a trailer that doesn't have moments that look terrible, then I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I mean, this style of movie worked for Maleficent, just kind of honing in on one villain, and Maleficent I really enjoyed. So I think this has a chance of being good.
Well, it has a chance, has an absolute chance, but maybe
it also has a chance to suck.
Also has a good chance to suck. That's true.
Finally, on May 28th, or the final one for May 28th, is A Quiet Place Part 2. It's a PG-13 for terror, violence, and bloody, disturbing images. Following the deadly events at home, the Abbott family must now face the terrors of the outside world as they continue their fight for survival in silence. Forced to venture into the unknown, they quickly realize that the creatures that hunt by sound are not the only threats that lurk beyond the sand path.
Naturally.
That one goes straight into HBO Max if you want to check it out for like a free trial or something.
I watched the first one and I was a little disappointed in that one. There's just so many plot holes that it's hard to enjoy the movie. But it looks like this one's going to be heavily filled with some flashback scenes. So it's going to show what kind of transpired to get to the first one, and then it's going to show a lot of what happens after. Yeah. And based on the trailer, it looks like the threat that lurks beyond the sand path is actually other humans. So we'll see how that goes.
The worst of monsters.
I've never seen the first one. I started watching it and then just got caught up on some other things and haven't gone back. So definitely want to finish it.
I did the big faux pas with it. I grabbed a big old thing of popcorn and, I was sitting down with my fiance watching it, and I'm sitting there going, nom, 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 nom. She's like, can you not? I'm like, oh, am I spoiling the tension? She's like, very much so. I'm like, oh, sorry.
You do realize it's called A Quiet Place.
I know, and I was there to enjoy a movie,
I mean, you'd be dead, sir. Just saying.
It was an interesting movie, and I liked the concept, but as Jay pointed out, there were a number of plot holes in it, and it was, yeah, there were some plot holes. Anyway, carry on, Jay.
That's the end of the movies for May, and as when I started this, I will still say The Wrath of Man is probably my top pick, the one that I really want to see this month.
I'd say Cruella for me. So, but I won't be paying $30.
Yeah, no. Dude, I'm sorry, if I can get HBO Max at standard subscription price and watch Godzilla vs. Kong, I'm not paying your $30 for a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the time will tell whether or not the HBO Max formula for this year really helped. Because I'm hearing rumblings that the Schneider cut did not do as well as they were hoping for HBO Max. So.
Yeah, I've heard mixed reviews on that,
and Snyder cut is better than the Whedon cut, so it's a long haul, but it's better.
I was gonna say it's
4
almost
hours.
an extra hour, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 4 hours.
4 hours. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Jay, move us on here.
DVD releases. It's actually on you.
All right, week of May 4th, we've got The Little Things, starring Denzel Washington. Cat and mouse game with a serial killer. We have Judas.
You know, I actually have almost a comment for every one of your movies. So,
oh well, I'll pause afterwards. Go ahead, Jay.
so Denzel Washington has certainly made a living with these types of movies.
I
So,
was thinking that actually when I was writing this list is that this is exactly a Denzel Washington movie. There's going to come a point where it's just going to be called Denzel. Denzel Part 2. Denzel the Return.
The Return.
And then
Denzel Returns.
we've got Judas and the Black Messiah, which of course is being nominated for the Oscars here tonight.
It was very, very good.
Yeah. Story of Fred Hampton, leader of the Black Panthers.
and directed by Shaka King.
Oh, nice.
I recommend it a lot. It was a very powerful movie, and people should watch it if they get the means.
Okay. Week of May 11th, we have The Marksman. Talking of people who make a certain type of movie, it's Liam Neeson, a retired Marine, hides a boy from a violent gang.
Well, you know, he has a particular set of skills.
He has a particular set of skills, and that's got him typecast really hard.
just hardcore.
Something on this that's kind of a neat fact on this movie is it's directed by Robert Lorenz. He's a longtime collaborator with Clint Eastwood, such as Mystic River, $1 Million Baby, Trouble with the Curve. He's a lot of times been the second director. So,
well, this just got better in my opinion.
I loved Trouble with the Curve. I love that movie.
So he's been either the producer or the second director on a lot of these movies. So he's got a lot of experience, but he hasn't really been the director. So I'd be curious to see how he did.
I almost have to watch this movie now just to support him here. Next, we have Land. A middle-aged woman must learn to survive off the grid. Go ahead.
And that middle-aged woman is Robin Wright. So for all your Princess Bride fans, she both directed and stars.
Oh, dang. Well, I did not know that. There we go. Next, we have My Brother's Keeper, a man dealing with PTSD after his service with the military.
I have nothing to add, so you can just breeze right on by that one if you want.
Week of May 18th, we've got Tom and Jerry, which I'll be honest, this thing looks like a train wreck from top to bottom, and I'm going to watch it anyway. I don't care.
I had to stop after 20 minutes.
Really?
I had to stop after 20 minutes. It was there was so I grew up watching Tom and Jerry. Like it was obviously made before my time, but that's what I watched when I was a kid with my dad. And this does not capture that spirit. There's too much focus on the humans. And I do not recommend Tom and Jerry.
I would almost second that to the exact sentencing and word structure because it just lacks the punch that just lacks it. It gets too, and there's like something I want to always say. It's just like, but I can't ever come up with what that is because it has such a feel of something else but it's not a Tom and Jerry feel.
Yeah, it's. No, I mean, like, man, it's such a misstep too, in my opinion, because like you throw too much. The people who want to watch a Tom and Jerry movie want to watch Tom and Jerry. They don't want to watch the humans. You know, they just.
I'll tell you what, though. Can we get a full-length movie out of that?
I think so. I mean, because you have humans in the Tom and Jerry show, and they can move the plot a little bit of each of the episodes. You just don't see them, and it's not their focus. I don't know. I think it could have been written better, but I don't work in Hollywood, so.
And they don't listen to us anyways.
Oh yes.
Next we have Minari, Rural Arkansas in the 1980s, a Korean American family tried to make their farm successful. And I really want to make a sci-fi spoof of this, maybe just a little 5-minute short called Minbari, and have it the same time frame, and just have a Minbari American family trying to make their farm successful. And you can almost do shot for shot everything.
Let's do it.
It would be so cool.
But this is the second Korean speaking film to be nominated for Best Picture. So the other one was Parasite, which won like everything. So
yeah, Parasite cleaned up. Jesus. Next we have The Nest, starring Jude Law, an Englishman. Englishman brings his American family to Britain, and of course, culture shock and strain to the family.
It's Jude Law. I mean,
yeah.
I didn't really have anything particular to add to that one either.
May 25th, we have Chaos Walking, starring Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley. Young woman has the key to save her colony. Essentially, all the women have died, and no one really knows why, or they don't tell us why. But all the men have the noise, which is their thoughts are kind of projected above their heads. And she's the only one who doesn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I heard that this got some pretty poor reviews.
Well, so it was pushed back like 2 years for reshoots. Oh, sorry. The trailer looks really good and it looks very interesting, but yeah, that does worry me with having to reshoot and everything like that.
I think the thing that kind of, one, I'm hoping it's not just getting flack because people can't see Daisy Ridley in a different role than her Star Wars role. So I was excited to see she was in something else
other than Spider-Man.
Yeah. That's true. So I'm just wondering if that's some of the backlash is they can't envision these characters other than their like typecast characters. But it is based on a book called The Knife of Never Letting Go, which is part of a Chaos Walking series. So again, they were hoping to do more of these, but if it has poor reviews, then that's likely not to happen.
And finally, we have Long Weekend. Down on let me try that again. Down on his luck, writer meets a quirky young woman. Insert generic rom-com here.
Actually,
okay.
I read deeper into this one because there's nothing really on some of the sites about it.
Yeah,
and it's really about a guy with a tumor, and he doesn't know what's real. And you would not get that from the trailer. You would not get that from any of the other.
Well, thank you for digging into this, because everything that I saw for this, I was like, yep, generic rom-com. Okay.
So he meets a girl, but then like wakes up in the hospital and like there's no way for him to know if that encounter was real and how to get a hold of her. So yeah, it's still probably a generic rom-com, but with this tumor aspect to it.
I prefer romedy.
Yeah, but I don't know if there's a whole lot of comedy in this to get it to a romedy.
And that's it. That is your list.
Video games. Mike, what you got?
All right. So for me, pretty long list. So I just kind of narrowed it down to some of the highlights, to be honest. So first up on May 7th is Resident Evil Village, coming to PlayStation 5, the new Xboxes, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Resident Evil 8. I don't know what more you could say.
Do you have any idea why it's called Villages?
So it's called Village mainly because if you write out Village, the VILL make 8 in Roman numerals. But also more so the point is that this is almost a direct sequel to Resident Evil 7. It's in first person again. It's starring Ethan Waters, which was the character in Resident Evil 7. And it is going from basically a mansion that you're in for the whole game, season 7, to a village. And basically, from what I can gather, is that the village is kind of like the Salem witch trials type thing. You got a bunch of, but you have more races and stuff like that. You have lycans in this one, you have vampires and stuff. So it's got some monster elements to it as well.
So it takes
but,
a village,
yeah.
huh?
Yeah, it takes a village. Yeah.
It takes a village to raise a lichen.
Yeah, you need a village to get through those Teen Wolf days, So, Assassin's Creed Valhalla: The Wrath of the Druids DLC does come out for all the systems, May 13th. This one is pretty cool. It's an indie game that's developed for the Switch only, coming out May 14th. It's called the Famicon Detective Club. And there's 2 episodes. The first episode is The Girl Who Stands Behind, and then the next one is The Missing Heir. And basically, you are a detective, and somebody is doing murders, doing crimes, and the clues that you get are based on Famicom games, like from the Famicom and the Super Famicom and in Japan versus the NES and the Super NES here. So it seems pretty cool. It's kind of like an adventure novel type game. So looks pretty fun. May 14th also brings us the Mass Effect Legendary Edition,
Which,
for all the things.
Yeah.
So,
it's
I will be getting this. I've never played it, so I'm never
you've
played the series.
Never played any of them.
Yeah. In fact, I actually have your copy of Mass Effect 1 here, Sean. So if you ever want it back, just let me know.
I mean, if you're going to be getting the Legendary Edition.
Yeah, I never played them, and they said that they got rid of some of the clunkiness of the first game, which I'm really excited for. That's why I didn't play your copy, is because it was just too clunky for me. So I'm hoping that they fix some of that, but yeah, that's gonna be exciting.
It should be interesting. The one thing that I wish would come with it, though, and I'm hoping comes further down the line, is the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer.
Yeah,
it's not in there, but they retooled everything else. It looks prettier. They changed some of the workings of Mass Effect 1 to be more in line with the rest of the trilogy. I get that. Really fun. I'm gonna get it too myself, even though I've played through all of these games at least 3 times. But I really, really, really hope that we get multiplayer eventually.
They did say that they probably will not be bringing it to it, but
that's what I heard.
We could hold some hope. Subnautica comes to the Switch on May 14th, and the same day comes its DLC sequel type thing. So Subnautica Below Zero, which is going to be coming out to all the things.
Subnautica was fun.
Yeah, it's a good game.
It's relaxing. It's oddly relaxing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Days Gone, a PlayStation 4 exclusive, is coming to the PC on May 18th.
It's out. It's out right now.
To PC?
Oh, to PC. No, it's on PS4.
Yeah, Days Gone is out on PS4.
It's actually the freebie.
Yes.
With the PSN network.
Yeah, it's coming to PlayStation, or it's coming to PC.
Looks pretty cool. I know it's actually downloading right now.
So Rust, which is a PC game, coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Obviously, you could play that on your PS5 and new Xboxes via backwards compatibility.
I remember Jay playing that.
I loved this game. I had it on Steam until they kept doing updates that no longer allowed any reasonable PC to play it. So I'm really excited to see it on a console. And it's already on my... there were 2 games that I told my wife I would have to be buying, and MLB The Show was the first one, which has been purchased and been playing, and Rust was the other one. So
There you go.
It's if you don't know what the game is, it's hardcore survival because
Yeah.
you basically wake up on a beach with a rock and
Yep.
like a loincloth covering you, and that's all you have. You have to figure out you also need to fill hunger, you need to fill water, and you need to get shelter so you don't freeze. So you have to like really it's kind of like when you start out with Minecraft, right? You have to like to figure out what you want to do to make sure you survive.
Yeah.
But it's 1,000 times harder. And then you
Yeah.
also have other people trying to survive. So
In the same
they,
server. Yeah.
yeah, they could be trying. They would be potentially killing you. They might work together. You have wolves that will come and eat you, and bears. So it's and I don't know if the console version will have it. I'm guessing it will. There's decay. So if you build your house and you don't come back for like 3 days, it starts to decay.
Yeah.
So you have to like
Starts
log in.
to rust.
Yeah, I guess. But it's wood, so I don't know how it rusts. But,
Sean, get these puns out of here.
so I just really enjoyed it. I used to
Yeah.
get up at 3 a.m. when no one else was on the server, so I could go get the drops they're coming.
You sneaky git.
Yeah. So
there you go. Next on the list is Biomutant, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, May 25th. Again, backwards compatibility. You could play it on both the new consoles. I'm really interested in this one. This is basically you are in a animal class that is also mutated, and you could create different types of like classes. You could have like a ninja. You could have just a gunner, stuff like that. So it looks really cool. Has a huge open world for exploration. So that one's actually on my radar.
So what? I mean, what is it though? I mean, is it like a first-person shooter? Is it?
No, it's like a third person. Let's see here. Let me read the description. It has martial arts to it. So it is an action RPG.
Okay, that's what I needed. Okay.
So yeah, it is third person action RPG.
Okay.
Yeah, basically you create a character, and you do martial arts, you could be a gunner, stuff like that. It's looking like a good game to me. So
It almost has a little bit of the Monster Hunter vibe to it.
a little bit, yeah. It's got a lot of games DNA in it. Like, so Biomutant is. Let's see here. I want to try to find a bumper.
I'm watching it as we speak here, but yeah, it looks very pretty. But I'm sure I'm looking at a pre-rendered trailer. So
It's an open world post-apocalyptic kung fu fable RPG with a unique martial arts styled combat system allowing you to mix melee shooting and mutant ability action. So
that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been on my radar for a while since it was announced last year. So I'm really excited for it.
As long as it's not God, what was that Mutant 0 Hour? Oh, that was awful. But yeah.
Did not play that one. So.
it does say a new take on third person combat.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
so the martial arts style combat system allows you maximum freedom of movement and agility while mixing shooting, melee, and powers from your mutations.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's like, hey, did you like Batman Arkham Asylum? Did you like Neo?
Spider-Man.
Did you like Spider-Man? Exactly. Did you like being able to jump around in combat? Hey, here you go.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that some of these Xbox scoops up for, Game Pass like they did with MLB The Show. I think Biomutant is a good case scenario that, that gets some really good eyes on it if they throw it in Game Pass day one. Maneater is coming to Switch. This has been dubbed the Shark PG.
Or translation, 15 minutes of fun and you'll never play it again.
There's a lot of people who have played this to 100% it. There's a lot of people who enjoy it.
Really?
So, yeah.
Okay.
It's getting cult classic.
Well, I will not stand in the way of it. I just okay. Hey, people like being sharks. I'll back that.
And then finally, just to Oddworld collection is coming to the Switch on May 27th. Oddworld is it's a classic 2D platformer. And the newest one, Oddworld Soulstorm, just came out to the PlayStation 5. So there's a collection coming to the Switch.
I've not played Oddworld, I think, since like Abe's Odyssey.
I think we talked about that last month. I'm kind of excited to see it on the Switch. I think that's a great platform for it. So
agreed.
Can we have one other little tidbit of news, video game news? So Rockstar has created a new website, and it looks like they might be going back to Vice City.
Yes, I think I saw that potentially.
So
really,
cool.
Yeah, it might be the new Grand Theft Auto might be set in Vice City. Is the rumor based on the logo on that site and the colors they used and things. So I mean, that would be awesome. That was probably my favorite Grand Theft Auto game.
Me too, man. I love Vice City.
It had such just a kind of fun-loving feel to it. That
radio stations were great too.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So
I'm actually partial to Grand Theft Auto 5. I thought it was amazing. So.
Well, I don't say it's not an amazing game. I just think that Vice City for its time.
Yeah.
Like if we have a Vice City set with the technology that 5 had, you're gonna potentially
lose your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I caught myself several times after playing that game when one of the songs that I'd cruise around in Liberty City came on the radio. Suddenly I'd look down and my speedo was 10 to 15 past where I thought it should be. Like, oh crap.
I'll be honest, you talk about 100%. I 100% that game.
You 100% in Vice City?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It might be the only. No, I 100% 3 and Vice City.
Dude, impressed.
Yeah.
That is impressive. See, I grew up, I was a little young, so like the Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City, I didn't really play the story. I just tried to get 5 stars and then survive. That's really what I did.
Swarm mode. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's video games. So.
Nice.
So movie classic of the month, and it was I picked this month and I picked Captain America: Winter Soldier. It just came 10 years at the beginning of the year, so
first Avenger?
Captain America?
I think so.
Did you say Winter
Captain
Soldier?
America, the first
Avenger?
Yes, sorry. That's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
First Avenger.
I mean, because I could throw down on Winter Soldier
Sure,
too.
sure
It
we
doesn't
can.
matter.
No, I meant the other one's not old enough anyway, so sorry, my bad. Captain America,
It is
the
one
first
of the best
Avenger.
MCU films of all time. So
It's okay. We all know that's the better Captain America. It's okay.
Well, that one's not old enough. So let's get back to my misspeaking and back to the movie I meant.
Sure.
So Steve Rogers, a rejected military soldier, transforms into Captain America after taking a dose of super soldier serum. But being Captain America comes at a price as he attempts to take down a warmonger and a terrorist organization.
Yeah, that's well, why don't we start with you there, Jay? Why did you pick this one?
I think I will say I was the biggest skeptic of this film because I just didn't feel it. I felt it was going to be too long into who Captain America is. And coming off of Iron Man, I was just not feeling that this was going to live up to it. I was never a really big fan of Captain America anyways. So all of those factors led me to be hesitant, and I didn't watch it till years after it had come out, just to avoid that. And then I realized that was an error in my judgment.
Well, I will back you up there. That I was hesitant on Captain America coming out. Not as big as I thought they were going to mess up Thor. But I was like, it's one of those characters, man, that people know this character, and trying to make a big screen version of a character that has only existed in another medium, regardless of the medium, is always a tricky proposition. And Captain America's been around for frickin' ever, man. People know Cap. They love him or they hate him or whatever, but they have strong feelings. And trying to do a big screen movie was pretty much a daunting task. And yeah, I was scared. I was scared when they announced this one, but I'll go ahead and slide on into it. It's not my favorite of the Captain Americas, but it's a damn good start. It's well done, and I think the casting on this was near perfect. Honestly, I couldn't imagine anyone else as Captain America. So I'll go ahead there, Mike.
Well, I mean, it's the second best of the first four MCU, right? So there's Iron Man, there's Captain America, and then you got Thor and Incredible Hulk. I mean, you could flip a coin on those, whatever. Um, like the first Avenger, it's a great movie. It tackled it was a period piece, right? It tackled a story that obviously, you know, wasn't it was fantastical, but it was grounded in realism. Like Hitler was a real person, the Nazis were a real person, you know, real people group. And here we have a person who goes into the super soldier program and, you know, becomes Captain America. And it 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 just hits all the right notes for me, especially when you have such a good villain with it as well.
Hugo
Like
Weaving was fantastic.
yeah, like
Oh
Red
my
Skull.
god, fantastic.
Red Skull was brilliant in this movie.
And you know, to be fair though, Hugo Weaving is pretty awesome in any of those like character pieces.
Agreed. Agreed.
So I mean, yeah.
No,
Go ahead, Mike.
He plays the fantastical characters very well.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I will second that. Chris Evans, you know, that was a perfect fit for it. Johnny Storm himself, you know, is into Marvel films, you know, but you know, it was I love Chris Evans as Cap. He embodied that role, and it started there, and then obviously only got better, you know, with Winter Soldier and that, but yeah, I mean, this was the last movie in phase one, you know, before Avengers came out. And you know, you got the story of the Tesseract, and you got kind of you got the story as to why Captain America gets to the modern times. And yeah, this is one of those that started it all, you know, really, alongside Iron Man, Thor, and Hulk.
Sorry, my fiance there is watching her Oscars and freaking out right now, so I'm trying desperately to stop the the text happening here. But yeah, no, I do like several things that they did with the movie that very easily could have slid off the rails. One is the main character themselves, Captain America. If you don't write Captain America well, we won't accept him. That's just straight up and down. That's a fact. Two, the fact that they did Red Skull so well was an honest surprise. And I don't know if it's really an appreciated surprise, because, you know, you see Hugo Weaving as Red Skull, and then he does the whole reveal to show that he is the Red Skull. And they could have done, you know, the quote unquote Red Skull the whole movie, but it was kind of more saved for like a little bit of a you know, final act reveal kind of thing. And it was just, the writing on it was really well done. And you have to take your time on these origin movies, to kind of, you know, set the scene. You have to take the time to do that, which is probably why with, you know, characters that we've seen the origin stories for 14 times already, Batman, we don't want another origin movie. But it was well done, and at the end of the day, I still say it's not the strongest of the MCU, but it certainly hit a solid start to getting one of the better characters of it.
And I would guess, you know, I watched Avengers and all of those movies after that prior, and then came back and watched this, and I wish I had watched this first, because I feel like it would have set up those movies a little bit better, just as they intended it to be set up. And you know, I loved Iron Man, so they really did do those build-up movies really well, and they should be commended for that. So I felt it should be listed on our movie classics.
I agree. I know I've been going on here a bit, but especially you learn to appreciate it a little bit more with Disney series right now, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You know, two companions of Captain America, now without Captain America, and it's good times. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of the stronger MCU films. Definitely one of the stronger origin stories out of the MCU films, for sure. Like, it's better than Thor. It's better than the Incredible Hulk. Not better than Iron Man, but just up there.
I'll agree with that ranking.
You know, but it's, man, again, I think I agree with Sean. It goes all the way back to the casting. Like, the casting was just spot on in this movie, and it makes the film. And ultimately, it is the final film that ushered in the past 10 years of movies that we've loved. You know, for some of their shortcomings, for some of the perfect ones in my eyes, like this is one of those that, you know, just hits home. So.
I agree.
I'm sure there'll be another day where we talk about Thor. So I'll leave my comments on Thor to that other
day. No. Any other thoughts there, though, Jay?
No, I'm good. I was pleasantly surprised on how well it is, how well done it was. And I think back to when I was hesitant about Ant-Man. You said, well, what have they ever done wrong? You know, where have they really misstepped? So I guess that's really, you really don't.
And was I right?
Ant-Man was way better than it could have, it should have ever been.
Thank you.
It was better than it should have been. Yes.
Oh, thank God they picked the storyline they did, though. Holy crap.
So, another one was essential to set up for Avengers, because I know I watched the later Avenger movies where he makes an appearance, and people who hadn't seen Ant-Man were just completely lost. So, so it was very important to watch them.
Hey, the MCU was a movie. I want to call it a TV series that they put up on the big screen. You miss an episode, you don't know what's going on.
There's definitely essentials that could bring you into the fold, but yeah, I mean, you see a lot of those little things in some movies, you know, that they call back to. So.
All right. I think this was a fantastic pick.
If you haven't seen Captain America: The First Avenger, you should. And I'm guessing if you haven't, you probably haven't spent much time in the MCU universe either. And so maybe give that a try as well, because you might be surprised. It's the whole series as a whole is way more sci-fi heavy than I would have ever imagined them doing.
Yeah.
And there is just a little of everything in them. I mean, they hit the drama, they hit the sci-fi, they hit the action, they hit the little of all of it.
Well, and they're setting up stuff in this movie that doesn't happen for 10 years. I mean, come on, man. Give credit where credit's due. It's good.
Oh yeah, the MCU is phenomenal. Like, it's everybody wants to do it,
and everyone keeps trying, and
nobody does it well.
Well, moving on to what have we been up to lately? I can be pretty quick about this because I've been pretty busy. I did read Salem's Lot, went back and read. I've been starting with Stephen King's early works and working my way up. So I read Carrie not too long ago, and then I followed up with Salem's Lot. Stephen King, in his introduction to the book, says it's dated, and he's right. It is dated. It's kind of disappointing that he hasn't chosen to rewrite some of these a little bit to change the language just a bit, to be a little more modern. I don't think it's necessary to use, especially when it comes to gay and lesbian topics. He's a little very dated in the way the world thinks about those things nowadays. And I think he could just clean that up quick. So that just disappoints me a little bit, especially when he's quite vocal about his views on things that are going on in the world. And you would think that he could do that without ruining anything about it. I also went back and read a 1996 book, I believe, Babylon 5, Blood Oath. It takes place in the Babylon 5 universe, and it's centered around Jakar and some people back on his home planet take a blood oath to kill him because of wrongs he had done to their family. And so it's really centered around him trying to get out of being killed, even if that means him faking his own death to buy himself some time.
Oh, man.
And then I watched the movie Prisoners. I don't know if you guys remember that one. It's got Hugh Jackman in it.
It's a good one.
And his daughter and a neighbor's daughter disappear, and the lengths that he will go to try to recover her.
Oh, right.
He's really good.
It was a good movie. It was pretty intense, and at times, and full of twists and turns. Things you aren't expecting happen. So I really enjoyed it. My wife didn't particularly enjoy it, but I did. And then I went back and I watched Inglourious Bastards as well. And watched that since it came out. And I remember it one way. I want to watch it again and try to see if it's still what I remembered. And still, Christopher Waltz is amazing in that movie. That opening scene with him is just incredible, and again proves just how good Tarantino can be when he wants to be.
And give some credit to Christopher Waltz for just playing that just right to the T.
Yeah. So that's I guess a lot more than I thought.
Buongiorno. I'll go. I am currently reading the final book in the trilogy. It is that I have been working on. It is Aaron Rudel's Stormbreak in the Act of War trilogy. It took me a hot minute because it's only available online as a download. There isn't a physical copy. And I'm a little old school, and I like to have my physical book there in front of me. But it's book 3 and it's not available anywhere else. So naturally I have to finish it. Haven't really hit too many movies lately. Last one, of course, I saw that is of any newsworthy is Godzilla versus Kong, which, yeah. And actually, I did go back and watch the original Mothra, which I freaking loved, dude. And I'm sitting there and I turned to my fiance. I'm like, they made a movie with toys. They made the whole movie with toys. She's like, yeah, it's called Toy Story. I'm like, no, this movie, they're all toys. And as far as video games, I've actually been really big on a StarCraft 2 kick lately. I got the bug in me, not Zerg, thankfully. And I've been playing the rest of the campaigns because I played the original first Terran campaign when it was free to play, and I was like, you know what, I'm enjoying that. I want to play the rest of it. So now I'm going through the rest of the campaign and playing that and having some fun with co-op mode as well. And that has pretty much been what I've been up to.
I've been up to a lot actually. Have a new baby in the
we
house,
haven't
so
seen you in like 8 months.
yeah, 8 months. Whoa. Have a new baby in the house, so I do have a good amount of time when she's napping on me and just got my phone there, so just watching. So I've been into a lot of shows recently. Obviously, Falcon and Winter Soldier. It was really good. I enjoyed
Did you finish it?
I did.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
The last episode was probably my favorite out of all this. No, I'll scratch that. The Baron Zemo episode was just too good. Zemo, I wish there was more Zemo in the show. But,
seriously, it's such a good character. I was like, where were you before?
So a little like, he was obviously in Civil War, and then, him coming back to this show, I was like, I didn't know I needed another Zemo story, but I needed another Zemo story.
Absolutely.
It was great. So watched that. I've been watching the Mighty Ducks Game Changers, the new Mighty Ducks series, which is pretty fun. It's fun so far. Emilio Estevez is still pretty good at acting, so that's good at least.
Was he ever really good?
He was good in this role.
I suppose.
I used the word pretty good. I didn't say really good.
Okay.
Obviously watched Mortal Kombat. We already talked about that. Godzilla versus Kong. Really quickly, good Kong movie. So Godzilla movie. That's my thoughts on it. We could talk about that another time. I watched a show. I binged a show called Warrior. It's on HBO Max. And basically, this was a show that Bruce Lee actually pitched to a studio back when he was alive, and they did not greenlight it. And so now this is a show that was his vision. His daughter is an executive producer on it. And basically, it's a Chinese man who comes over, basically in the slave trade in the 1800s, to San Francisco to work. But in all reality, he's trying to save his sister, who was already in America, and basically bring her back to China. But he finds out that she's a leader of one of the Chinese Tongs, basically a gang in San Francisco. And so he ends up joining another gang. And yeah, just a bunch of martial arts ensue. Very, very gory. So it was awesome. It was epic. And then final thing I'll say is I binged Cobra Kai as well. Cobra Kai was awesome. I loved Cobra Kai. Been playing MLB The Show. I got the new Xbox, the Series X, so I'm enjoying that. And yeah, that's me.
I forgot one thing. I got the season 1 of Red Dwarf.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's old, but it's still funny. So,
you can absolutely enjoy those. It's just sometimes you're like, oh, you're showing your age right here.
Yeah. It's still fun. I'm
don't
enjoying
know what that
it.
show is. So
it's a British comedy,
sci-fi
that's set in they're on a spaceship and things go a little haywire. So they end up like everybody's dead on the ship, and it ends up with just this guy and some a cat that's evolved millions of years into a human. Essentially the cats have evolved. And then there's a couple, like one guy's just in the computer hologram and then the computer. So but he has some interesting tales that as they're trying to get the ship back to Earth, which is going to take forever. But so it's just, yeah, it's really in the British comedy of what, the 70s, I think it came out. So
it wasn't that long ago, was it?
It's been a while.
I was gonna say I thought it was 80s actually, or even 90s, but well, hey.
It might have finally come to the US at that point.
That's fair.
Oh, you're right. Started in 1988.
1988. There it is.
All right.
Yep.
So either way,
Yeah.
it's been a while.
I was not born.
And it's gone through a couple of revivals. So 1988. Yep. Season 1, February 15th. So
February 15th. It's a good day.
so, and they had a show with the same characters in April of last year. So they've been able to keep the same cast together for like decades.
Yeah,
Wow,
it is crazy.
That's kind of cool.
So, all right. Well, we've taken up a lot of time tonight, so it's been a good full episode. So hope everyone enjoyed it. Until next time.
Good night, everybody.
Adios.